When we want to succeed in dating and know where to put our investment and who to put our investment in, there are some things we have to learn on our journey of trials and tribulations. And one of the things we have to be able to do is recognize when someone just isn't into us. Because we don't want to waste our time and energy on someone who has no intention of reciprocating it back. Now, it's all easy to tell when someone just flat out doesn't respond to you at all. But what about that guy who does kind of see you and spends time with you, but you have that niggling feeling that maybe he's not as into you as maybe you would like him to be? And that maybe questions whether he actually wants to take things further. Well, we're going to sort all of that out right now. I'm going to give you 5 signs that a guy just isn't that into you. So you can close that chapter with knowingness and confidence and be open to someone great who wants to give you what you want to give them. Before we get to that, I am having one-to-one sessions. So if you're ready to level up your love life today, just click that link below. So the first sign that a guy just isn't that into you is that it takes him ages to reply to your texts. So the reality is, when it comes to guys, there are generally 2 types of texters. There's the guys who are happy to text all day, every day, and that's very much what they do. And then there's the guys who don't really like texting. They're not big texters, really. They're the kind of guys who finds texting every day, all day, a little bit of a chore. But for the girl he likes, he'll make a bit of an effort in this area. But if he really doesn't want to text, then he'll definitely prefer phone calls. And we'll be open to that, so instead of texting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe you have a catch-up call on Tuesday and then you have another call on Thursday. But either way, whatever kind of texter this guy is, if he takes ages to respond, that is a sign that he's maybe not into it as much as you think. And I don't mean if he just takes like a few hours to respond, because I know for some of y'all think if a guy doesn't respond for a few hours, you're like, what the hell, what are you doing? But I mean if he's not responding like a day or 2 later. Now, one thing we can get confused on is if we text someone in the morning and then they don't text until like the second half of the day. Now, it can depend on the text and whether the text requires a thought out response. But if this guy is not a big texter and if he has a busy schedule, what a lot of these kind of people do is they will dedicate time to respond to messages after they've done everything they need to do work-wise. Because it's easy just to send some random thing when you've only got 2 minutes, but if he actually cares and wants to take time into developing the conversation, then he wants to put a level of thought and energy into that. But he'll always usually get back to a girl within the day if he likes her. But if he's responding on a different calendar day, then he's just not that into it. This next sign that a guy is just not that into it is he doesn't ask you for another date. So you may have been on 1 date or it may have been several dates, but he doesn't ask to see you again for whatever reason. Now I get, if this happens after 1 date, then, that's more understandable. Maybe you went on a date and there wasn't really a vibe and he was like, okay, this just isn't the one for me. So he doesn't ask to see you again. But what if you've been on a few dates and they've been going well and then suddenly he's not asking to see you again? How does that make sense? Because surely after a few dates, you're getting more comfortable with each other, you're spending more time with each other, maybe some physical stuff has happened. Well, what does happen is that maybe he wasn't sure in the beginning, but he really wanted to give it a chance. And then it was after spending more time, he just felt that it wasn't a good fit. Now I get, maybe from a woman's perspective, it was going really well, right? But sometimes we can be so into someone that we've already started to fall in love with the idea of being with them. And that means we're actually less aware of whether they actually feel the same, which means we can neglect some signs that they're actually not that into us, which is exactly why I made this video, so we can be crystal clear. Next sign that he's maybe not just that into you is he declines sexual opportunity with you. This is the biggest telltale sign. If he declines you coming over at booty call o'clock, which is any time after 9 p.m, a guy saying no to sex or sexual opportunity is like a dog saying no to a ball. If a dog's saying no to a ball, it's like, okay, well, why are we even in the park if you don't want to play? Because the thing is with guys especially, even when they're not taking a girl seriously, he will still usually indulge in the sexual side of things because it's there and available to him. Even girls that he may not be attracted to. So if a guy does say no to sexual opportunity with a woman, 1, it means that he's really not looking to further things with her. But also 2, it shows that he's somewhat of a decent guy, because even though he knows that he doesn't want to take this seriously, he doesn't just use you for sex in that regard. It's a very indirect, nice way of just saying that he's not into it. This next sign that a guy just isn't that into you is you are repeating things to him you've already told him. So here's the thing. If you both have talked a lot and he forgets one or two details, that's fine. We're all human. But if you find yourself repeating a lot and he's asking the same questions that leads into the same conversation that you had the previous week, it's not the one. Because him not listening is a sign that he doesn't care about taking things further. Because when we like someone, we do remember things and details about them. Like, do you remember the last time you met a group of people and let's say there were 3 or 4 guys in that group that you met, but there was one guy that caught your eye? Remember when you introduced yourself, you said hi to all of them? You may not have remembered the other guys' names, but you remembered his name. When we like someone, we open ourselves up and we pay attention. It's like they say when we're talking to someone that we find really attractive and that we're really into, our pupils dilate, right? Because we want to take in as much of them as possible. And this is exactly the same when it comes to listening and attentiveness. We take in as much of them as we can. What they say, what they wear, what dates are important to them, what plans that they have. And a lack of this is a lack of interest. Especially if you feel like you're taking all of him in and he's not taking you in. Which brings on to the next sign that a guy just isn't that into you is he never asks you personal questions. If the man you're dating is doing the majority of the talking, that could be a red flag. Because it could mean that he's just using you for attention and validation. Yeah, it's true. Guys can use girls for attention and validation. They don't always just use them for sex. Because if you're the kind of person who likes to give positivity and validation to the person you're spending time with, which is a good thing, then though he may not be into you, he may still actually enjoy spending time with you because of how you make him feel. But this is a reflection of him just talking about himself so you can feed his energy and feed his ego. If he never asks you any personal questions about you, it means he doesn't care to get to know you because he doesn't see any longevity in this. So even if a guy enjoys spending time with you, just be wary of this. Any of these signs surprise you? If you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick.